woman that said that Puffy tried to kill me.
There have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx.
A bodyguard steps onto live television still bruised from 3 near-fatal accidents, clutching lab results that scream cyanide, and coolly claims the man on federal trial isn't even the real villain.
Because the last time I was scheduled to be in this interview, randomly, our car gets hit from the side by a blacked out vehicle.
That opening line alone should jolt anyone awake.
Somebody didn't want me to do this interview. Yeah, somebody didn't want me to do this interview.
But the story only gets stranger when he points to Jamie Foxx's mysterious coma, an alleged shadow syndicate, and a string of young stars who all caught pneumonia.
Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia?
Right before they could talk. Emanuel Big Homie CC Newton didn't start out guarding megastars. He grew up ducking bullets on Chicago's South Side, then used that street savvy to become the go-to muscle for A-list rappers and athletes. After a decade in the limelight, he walked away from the velvet rope life for something a lot grittier, hunting traffickers and pulling victims out of stash houses. Last year alone, he told Piers Morgan, his small team brought home 17 people, 4 of them kids, 1 just a little boy. So why risk stepping back into the glare now? Because he says staying silent was starting to look deadlier than talking. Twice in 2024 and again this spring, interview dates kept mysteriously falling through. One network backed out, another lost a key file, and the FBI even turned up at his door to warn of an active threat. When Morgan finally got him on set, 3rd time's the charm, the bodyguard opened with a shrug. Somebody really didn't want this conversation happening. But canceled bookings were the polite warnings. The next signals screeched across asphalt and steel, blackout SUVs, no plates, ramming his car in broad daylight. And that, Big Homie says with a half smile, was only the beginning. The first hint that someone wanted him silent didn't come in a whispered phone threat. It came at 40 miles an hour. Big Homie says a blacked out SUV with no plates slammed his sedan broadside, then vanished into traffic. 2 weeks later, the exact same model clipped him again, and a 3rd strike followed the morning he was due to fly to London for Piers Morgan. Mechanics found nothing accidental about the damage. Clean, deliberate impact points, no paint transfer, no skid marks. Whoever drove that ghost car knew the choreography. Shaking off the crashes, he boarded the flight, but his body betrayed him next. Back-to-back bouts of crushing fatigue turned into full-blown pneumonia, the kind that puts healthy men on oxygen. Hospital tests finally explained why. Cyanide in his bloodstream. That stuff metabolizes into pneumonia, he told Morgan, adding that doctors logged it not once, but 3 separate times. If the poison was a message, federal agents confirmed somebody meant it. Big Homie recalls the knock at his door. FBI investigators warning of an active threat on his life. They wouldn't name the client, only urged him to change routines and postpone the interview, advice he ignored. 3 wrecked cars, 3 cyanide hits, and an official alert from Washington, all inside 12 months. For most people, that would be the epilogue. For Big Homie, it was only the prologue because the toxin in his veins pointed to a chilling pattern hiding in plain sight. An uncanny string of young, seemingly healthy celebrities who all caught pneumonia right before they could talk. And that pattern starts, some say, with Diddy's inner circle. When doctors told Big Homie cyanide had metabolized into full-blown pneumonia, another set of headlines snapped into focus. The first was Kim Porter, Diddy's longtime partner, who went to bed with flu-like symptoms in November 2018 and never woke up. Los Angeles coroners ruled it low-bar pneumonia even though the former model was just 47 and otherwise healthy. 5 years earlier, Bobby Christina Brown, Whitney Houston's only child and a familiar face at bad boy events, died after months in a coma. The official cause, pneumonia brought on by hypoxic brain injury, a stunning verdict for a 22-year-old who'd been found face down in a bathtub. The pattern isn't limited to Diddy's immediate orbit. Brittany Murphy collapsed in her Hollywood Hills bathroom at 32. The coroner cited pneumonia, anemia, and a cocktail of legal meds. Fans still question how a young star with A-list healthcare could deteriorate so fast, and why her husband, Simon Monjack, died from the exact same condition 5 months later. Here's why all of this feels off. According to the CDC, pneumonia kills roughly 12 people per 100,000 in the general US population, with the risk skyrocketing only after age 70. Healthy adults under 50 almost never succumb, especially not entertainers with round-the-clock physicians. So when Big Homie links his cyanide-induced pneumonia to a string of eerily similar deaths, skeptics stop scoffing. One coincidence is chance. A cluster starts looking like choreography, and every breadcrumb points back to the same velvet rope parties. By late 2023, the rumor mill wasn't the only thing buzzing around Sean Diddy Combs. The Department of Homeland Security quietly opened a racketeering and trafficking probe after Cassie Ventura hit him with a civil suit. So explosive, the parties settled for a reported $20 million in just 24 hours. Federal momentum snowballed. March 25, 2024 raids on his Los Angeles and Miami mansions turned up broken down AR-15 parts, stacks of cash, designer drugs, and a bedside handgun. evidence prosecutors later called freak-off supplies. 6 months later, agents cuffed the mogul outside his Florida estate. The September 16, 2024 indictment charged Combs with sex by force, transporting women for prostitution, and running a criminal enterprise, RICO statutes normally reserved for mob bosses. A judge denied bail 3 times, citing witness tampering fears. He's been in Brooklyn's MDC ever since, staring down a potential life sentence and scrambling to shield his empire from government forfeiture. The trial opened May 12, 2025, with ex-assistants describing cleanup crews, ledger sheets for hush payments, and hotel rooms stocked with ketamine and baby oil. Kid Cudi followed, testifying his Audi was firebombed after Diddy raged over Cassie. Proof, prosecutors argue, that intimidation was company policy. And here's the chilling timeline Big Homie points to. Just weeks after federal investigators first warned Combs he was officially a target, Jamie Foxx collapsed on set, swallowed by a 22-day coma that began, he says, after someone handed him a single Advil. Whatever was coming for Diddy's loose ends had just found Hollywood's brightest chameleon. April 11th, 2023 should have been routine. Jamie Foxx felt a pounding headache on set, asked a friend for an Advil, swallowed, and blinked out of existence. When he finally regained consciousness, 22 days had vanished from his memory, replaced by hospital lights and doctors whispering brain bleed and stroke. Foxx later told fans, "I was gone for 20+ days. I don't remember anything after that pill." The timing raised every eyebrow in Hollywood. Just weeks earlier, lawyers had quietly served Sean Combs a target letter, formal notice that a federal trafficking probe was underway. By the time Fox collapsed, insiders say Diddy's camp was already fretting about loose ends. If you were the life of those notorious parties, Big Homie CC argues, you suddenly looked less like a guest and more like a liability. Fox's ordeal grew stranger when his stand-up comeback, What Had Happened Was, hit Netflix on December 10, 2024. Early audiences at the taping swear he spent half an hour accusing Combs of poisoning him and tipping off the FBI. Jokes so sharp they sliced the room silent. Yet the final cut trimmed that segment to 2 harmless punchlines, the crowd suddenly switching outfits as editors stitched around the bombshells. Then came the birthday warning. On December 13, 2024, during a low-key dinner at Mr. Chow in Beverly Hills, someone from a neighboring table hurled a glass that split Fox's mouth wide open. Police classified it as an assault with a deadly weapon. Fox needed stitches and posted cryptically the next morning. "The devil is busy, but I'm too blessed to be stressed." Fans instantly connected the dots. Fox had joked the devil at the end of the tunnel looked a lot like Puff.
In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil in revealing his near-death experience.
Because I looked at the end of the tunnel and I thought I saw the devil like, come on. Was that Puff?
Publicly, Fox now shrugs off the poison theory, saying he always left those parties early. Privately, witnesses claim he still refuses unsealed drinks and travels with off-duty medics. One Page 6 source insists Fox edited the Netflix special because he didn't feel like testifying. Whether you see a conspiracy or just coincidence, the math is chilling. 1 Advil, 22 lost days, and a glass to the face, each incident unfolding tighter to Diddy's legal noose. And as prosecutors march more insiders to the stand, Kid Cudi's firebombed Odie proves the danger isn't confined to pills and pneumonia. But the rapper's flaming car is only the next flare on a road littered with silencers. Kid Cudi didn't mince words on May 22nd. He told a Manhattan jury that after word leaked he was seeing Cassie Ventura, someone lobbed a Molotov cocktail into his parked Porsche, locked his dog in the bathroom, and vanished into the night. When the shaken rapper confronted Sean Combs days later, Diddy stood with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain and claimed total ignorance, a denial Cudi said he never believed. That sort of cinematic intimidation tracks perfectly with what prosecutors call Diddy's standard operating procedure. Former executive assistant George Kaplan testified he was paid to turn luxury suites into private theme parks, then scrub every trace so hotel staff couldn't leak photos. After freak-offs, Kaplan said he hauled out Gatorade bottles, liquor, and towels drenched in baby oil while Combs paced nearby, barking orders. Federal agents later found proof Kaplan wasn't exaggerating. When they raided Combs' Park Hyatt room the day of his 2024 arrest, they cataloged bags of Johnson's baby oil, Astroglide, a mood lighting rig, $9,000 in cash, and 2 Ziplocs of pink ketamine MDMA hidden in a prescription bottle, all neatly photographed for the jury. Added up, Molotov cocktails for romantic rivals, hotel rooms staged like adult film sets, and contraband straight out of a nightclub chem lab. To Big Homie CC, this isn't tabloid excess. It's the muscle and mess you deploy when witnesses start talking. And if a flaming sports car couldn't keep Kid Cudi quiet, imagine what the syndicate reserves for its loudest whistleblowers. So if Diddy isn't the apex predator, who is? Big Homie says, follow the guest list. He calls Combs the Black Gatsby, the man who curated the party but never owned the mansion. According to him, that mansion was filled with billion-dollar board members who could buy silence the way most people buy champagne. He even likens Diddy's contact sheet to Jeffrey Epstein's. Same private islands, different DJ. That theory lands harder when you check the numbers. Human trafficking generates an estimated $150 billion a year, triple the global music business. If even a sliver of that cash flows through celebrity brokers, the real kingpins would rather sacrifice one flashy middleman than let subpoenas trace the money upstream. Which circles us back to Big Homie CC. He claims the poisoned water, the phantom SUVs, and the FBI warnings weren't about shutting down gossip. They were about plugging a leak that could drown boardrooms from London to Los Angeles. Silencing a bodyguard, he warns, is cheaper than defending a conglomerate. But the trial clock is still ticking. Mystery witnesses are still boarding red-eye flights to New York. And one final question hangs over the courthouse. If the middleman falls, will the puppeteers finally show their faces or disappear into the smoke? If cyanide in a coffee mug, a Porsche set ablaze, and a middle-aged mogul shackled in a Brooklyn jail cell still feel too Hollywood to be real, remember the math. 5 suspicious pneumonia deaths, 3 confirmed poisoning attempts, 2 federal indictments, and 1 bodyguard who keeps outliving his own autopsy. The patterns overlap like fingerprints, and every ridge leads back to the same velvet rope guest lists. Names powerful enough to gamble entire legacies on a single loose end never making it to court. Yet the loose ends are talking anyway. Kid Cudi charred dashboard now sits in an evidence locker. George Kaplan's hotel ledgers read like a budget for sin. And Big Homie CC, scars and all, just fed his story into a camera he believes will reach more ears than any silencer. Meanwhile, Jamie Foxx, alive, stitched, and noticeably cautious, hasn't said a public word since December, leaving fans to wonder whether the next punchline he writes will double as testimony. So what happens when jury forepersons start connecting those dots? One outcome is simple. Sean Combs could spend the rest of his life behind bars. The far stranger possibility is that his conviction might end up feeling like a footnote, because if Big Homie is right, the man on trial was never the linchpin, merely the loudest cog in a machine worth billions. And machines that profitable tend to replace damaged parts in silence before the gears ever grind to a halt. For now, all eyes stay fixed on that Manhattan courtroom, waiting to see if the spotlight widens. Because if the real architects step forward, or if they don't, either revelation will rewrite how fame, fortune, and fear intersect in modern entertainment. Until then, every unanswered question clings to the same cold truth Big Homie offered with a shrug. In this industry, disappearing people is easier than rewriting contracts. What do you think? Is the trial's headline defendant the mastermind, or just the first domino? Let the debate begin.